Welcome to the Sun Parlour Coffee House Sessions. I'm Jan Hall. LaSalle singer-songwriter Martha Renaud is just about to release her latest album. It's entitled Time and Tide, and it was recorded in Nova Scotia with J.P. Cormier. And Martha Renaud is our special guest in the studio today. And she's coming up right now with one of the tracks from the new album entitled The Wrong Side of the Tracks. Enjoy.
I was born in a little town on the wrong side of the tracks, and I learned from early on what it meant to lack. And when I went to school, the kids would talk behind my back and laugh and point out all the things that we didn't have. And my daddy'd hit the bottle and he'd hit us all at will. And my mama sold her soul to men just to pay the bills. And my brothers doing B&Es and selling J and crack. Well, me, I strapped my soul across these desperate hell-bound tracks. And that train's coming fast. Well, then I started to believe those lies inside my brain that said my path was set in life, just like that old train. And I walked out of that school one day and swore I'd not be back. And I tightened up those cords that bound me to those tracks. And the coal is burning hot and the flames are burning bright, and I add another shovelful and race into the night. And I feel I'm at its mercy, but mercy it has none. And my soul has grown so weary, and I think I'm almost done. 'Cause my daddy'd hit the bottle and he'd hit us all at will. And my mama sold her soul to men just to pay the bills. And my brothers doing B&Es and selling J and crack. Well, me, I strapped my soul across these desperate hell-bound tracks. And that train's coming fast. I met someone who told me that it's not geography that keeps me bound to that track of death and misery. And they reached out to help me and they set me on my feet. And they told me that I had the power to change my destiny. And I'm picking up my broken dreams and then I'm college bound. I've got a little girl now and I want her to be proud. And let her know that in her life there's choices to be made. And the things that you've been born into you don't have to take. 'Cause I came from the wrong side of the tracks. Yes, I came from the wrong side of the tracks. Well, I came from the wrong side of the tracks. And I ain't going back. Oh no, I ain't going back. Oh no, I ain't going back. I ain't going back. I'd like to introduce David Light, who's accompanying me today. I'm very thankful for him being here. This next song I'm going to do for you is called Last Child, and it was inspired by the fact that eventually when you have children, the last one leaves the nest, and it's one of those watershed moments. So this is called Last Child. The sheets, they are all folded. There's no clothes lying in a heap. And the dishes are all put away. The house is nice and neat. And I hate it with a passion, and the quiet drives me wild. And I long for the noise and mess that comes with every child. It seems like only yesterday that they were running in the halls. One would come to me crying, saying the other had made him fall. And sometimes nights were long when sickness would take hold. And I remember all the bedtimes and all the stories told. And I know that this is how, well, things were meant to be. And I'm so proud of the young men that before me now I see. But I'd give anything to be woken in the wee hours of the night, for the last child at home has finally taken flight. High school came and I watched them change as the years went rolling by. Well, friends and parties filled our house, it was such a busy time. And they would try to be so quiet when they'd come home late at night. And when I close my eyes I can see it all like a movie in my mind. This is how, well, things are meant to be. And I'm so proud of the young men that before me now I see. But I'd give anything to be woken in the wee hours of the night, for the last child at home has finally taken flight. Yes, I'd give anything to be woken in the wee hours of the night, for the last child at home has finally taken flight. So as a songwriter, there's a lot of different reasons why you write songs. Sometimes it's something that's affected you personally, or something that you've witnessed out in the news, or sometimes it's just whimsy. And this next song I'm going to sing for you is of the latter category. I had watched a PBS special on Yosemite and Yellowknife, and there were pictures of the prairie buffalo, and there was a bird perched on one of these magnificent creatures, and it made me pause to say, I wonder how that came about, and I wondered about that friendship, and sometimes you never know how people are friends. So this is called Little Bird and the Buffalo. Unlikely pair that you ever would find out on the prairie in the Great Divide, trying just to get through another dry day, and trying just to keep those old wolves at bay. Well, you might think that they don't go together just because they're not birds of a feather. Well, sometimes there's just things you can't know, like when Little Bird found a prairie buffalo. Yes, Little Bird found a prairie buffalo. Well, Little Bird had got herself caught in a storm. She was blown off course, now all tattered and torn, grounded by an injured wing and waiting to die. 'Cause there's no hope for a bird that can't fly. And sometimes you might think it's all over, but you don't know what's coming round the corner. No, sometimes help comes in a way you can't know. Like when little bird found a prairie buffalo. Yes, little bird found a prairie buffalo. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Well, Buffalo had tried to find water for days. He was staggering now in the dry brush and sage. Shaggy head hanging, he just wanted to cry, till something quite small just caught his eye. Yes, sometimes you might think it's all over, but you don't know what's just around the corner. And sometimes cries, they can be heard, like when Buffalo found a pretty little bird. Yes, Buffalo found a pretty little bird. Well, little bird's healed and she's flying so high. Well, now she's Buffalo's second set of eyes, and he's her warmth at night now that they're together. They go through life no matter what the weather. An unlikely pair that you ever would find out on the prairie in the Great Divide, trying just to get through another dry day, and trying just to keep those old wolves at bay. Well, you might think that they don't go together just because they're not birds of a feather. Well, sometimes there's just things you can't know, and sometimes friendships, they just grow, and friends are just friends just because it's so. Like when little bird found a prairie buffalo. Yes, little bird loves her prairie buffalo, and Buffalo found a pretty little bird. Yes, Buffalo loves his pretty little bird. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. This is a song from my first album, and it was inspired by living next to the building of the Herb Gray Parkway project. And in doing the project, people's houses were expropriated and many trees were cut down. And we lost one of our neighbors where she had to move away. She was in her late 90s, and I married the two themes together in this song, and it's called Withered Hands and Weathered Wood. It was many years ago that we built on this here road, and in the middle of the yard we planted you. There was my husband and me, and our little babe made three, and we were happy to have a place to call our own. Well, our family, it grew, and so did you, and your boughs began to spread and come out in leaf. It was 1, 2, 3, and you were ollie oxen free, and in your shade we sat and planned for the coming year. Withered hands and weathered wood, through the storms of life we've stood, and though the winds would blow, our roots went down and deep. We've been sold out for a road, and it's off to a home I go, and I'm glad I won't be there when those saw blades come. 'Cause there were storms that came and went, the death of family and friends, and the layoffs, strikes, and debts were a heavy the ice storms laid you low, and the winds, they took their toll. But through it all, we survived. With withered hands now and weathered wood, through the storms of life we've stood. And though the winds would blow, our roots went down and deep. We've been sold out for a road, and it's off to a home I go. And I'm glad I won't be there when those saw blades come. Well, we're both getting quite old now. They're building this here road. Will they tell us that we're in their way? But the kids say it's for the best, 'cause I could use a little rest from living out here all alone. And as I make my way out in the yard for one more look at you, the memories of a lifetime filter through. Your branches gnarled by the elements, well, I guess I'm gnarled too. We're just a pair of old survivors, me and you. With withered hands now and weathered wood, through the storms of life we've stood. And though the winds would blow, our roots went down and deep. And we've been sold out for a road, and it's off to a home I go. And I'm glad I won't be there when those saw blades come. 'Cause I'd surely shed a tear when those saw blades come.
That's Martha Renaud with Withered Hands and Weathered Wood live in the studio at the Sun Parlour Coffee House Sessions. Martha is our special guest today, and we're going to have a little chat about her music and particularly the new album that she's just about to release, Time and Tide. Great to have you join us today.
Awesome, it's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your music. When did you get started?
Lately, it's only been the last few years. I've been surrounded by music from the time I was little. My family was very much musical. My dad played the organ. I played in the bands. In school, I played saxophone and clarinet and dabbled with guitar, but life and work kind of let it sit by the wayside. And it was actually a Dave Gunning concert several years ago that started things going. I fell in love with the sound of his beautiful guitar. It sounded like melted chocolate, and I actually bought it before I ever wrote a song. And it was one of those, what have I done?
Now, Withered Hands and Weathered Wood, that was the first song you ever wrote, is that right?
It was. I was so impacted by the highway project and the loss of this particular neighbor. She was very dear to us. She was 98 years old, and she was one of the neighbors that was expropriated. She still lived on her own. She had beautiful gardens, and with the help of family and neighbors, we kind of kept her there. And it was sad, I think, for her to leave this home that she'd been in. And the other thing was the trees. There were thousands of trees that lined Talbot Road coming off the highway. And the day that they harvested them all, I was coming home from work and I missed my turn. I didn't know where I was. It felt like a bomb had gone off. And I remember I sat down in my office, and this song came out within no time.
Now, you're just about to release this new album, Time and Tide. I know, having had a chance to talk to you before this interview, that you were very excited about the opportunity to go down to Nova Scotia to work with J.P. Cormier. Tell us a little bit about the process you went through putting this album together.
That was an adventure. Some of my songs, people have asked me if I'm from the East Coast. I'm not, but obviously I've been influenced by musicians and other kinds of music that maybe tends to have that kind of a flavor. And there were also some pieces like Wrong Side of the Tracks that had an Americana kind of feel. And J.P. Cormier was a session musician in Nashville for years, and also he's a 13-time East Coast Music Award winner, Juno nominee, and I thought, why not take a chance? And actually that was the title of his latest album, was The Chance, and I was reading his inside cover, and I thought, why not,
Now, you're already developing a reputation as a songwriter, and you mentioned actually before you played the Little Bird and the Buffalo that you sometimes write songs about relationships or specific issues like the Parkway Project. You also like to write whimsical songs. Do you find it very easy to come up with material for the songs that you put together?
People ask me, well, how do you write songs? I don't really have a process. Some of them come very quickly, like Withered Hands and Weathered Wood. Little Bird and the Buffalo, it was just fun, and it came out rather quickly too. Other songs took a longer time. There's one on the album that's called Charlotte Taylor. It took me probably about a year to finally finish that one off, and I'm very pleased with it, and it's just huge on the album with JP's fiddles and mandolins and all that. So that one took longer. So there's not really any way that it seems to come out.
What are your hopes for this album?
Just that people will enjoy it. It was fun to put out different styles of writing, different sound, because I'm surrounded by all these instruments. A lot of times I play alone, so it's a studio album. So you're not going to hear me play like that unless I can clone JP and bring him along with me. So
now, you released the previous album, Lifelines, I think in 2015. It's just over a year later. Your latest album's coming out. Can I presume that you'll be working on new stuff as soon as you can?
I have enough for another one.
What is your hope for the future? I mean, at the moment, I think you juggle your music with a day job. I mean, do you hope one day that maybe you'll be able to be a full-time musician?
That would be what I would like. I enjoy what I do. I'm a massage therapist now, and I'm only working part-time. It's very fulfilling for me, too, to be able to help people that way. But it's also very fulfilling to see my songs help people as well. I've had people come up and talk to me afterwards and say that really touched me. And I think as a songwriter and a performer, that's what we want, we want to engage with people and to have them affected by the songs that we sing. And it's the conversations that I have after a performance that I like the best, engaging with people on a one-to-one basis.
If people want to learn more about your music, how can they do that?
I do have a Facebook page, Martha Renaud Singer-Songwriter. I also have a web page, just martharenaud.com, and you can get a hold of me through either of those venues, and I'd be happy to hear from you.
We have time for one more song today. What are you going to play for us?
This is one of the ones off the album as well, and it's called Going Home.
Rather appropriate way to finish. Martha Renaud with Going Home from the album Time and Tide, and you're watching the Sun Parlour Coffee House Sessions.
I was born with a heart to roam. Wasn't much left to keep me home. Too much there to make me leave. Not enough left to believe. And if you looked inside my heart, you would see it torn apart. For as much as I knew I must go, I so much wished it wasn't so. I have traveled far and wide, under stars and winter skies, through cities full and forests lone. Well, I have trudged these paths alone, while tempests raged and storms they'd come. Well, I would face them one by one. I did not know in all that time that I was always on your mind. 'Cause time and tide and seasons turn, makes me long and makes me yearn to hear a voice from long ago, whispering me to come back home. Yes, I was born with a heart to roam, risen by pride and turned to stone, with miles behind and distance wide. I found from love I could not hide. And while tempest raged and storms they'd come, well, I would face them one by one. I did not know in all that time that I was always on your mind. 'Cause time and tide and seasons turned, made me long and made me yearn. Heard a voice from long ago, whispering me to come back home, whispering me to come back home, whispering me to come back home. I was born with a heart to roam. I think it's time I come back home.